What's up, everybody? Well, as you can see behind me, I have an absolute disaster going on in the shop right now. Haven't had time to work on the C10 the last couple of weeks between doing house projects, getting my garage framed in and the new door in so it was sealed up for the snow. And other than that, I've been kind of working on the C10 a little bit, but I got frustrated with how disastrous the shop was, so naturally made it a bigger disaster and ordered pallet racking to go along that whole wall. Be roughly. So I got the first round of pallet racking up. Haven't really set up any shelving yet. I'm gonna do that once I start. I'll do that once I start filling the shelves up. Basically, I had to order a bunch of different sizes to get around the windows and stuff. So we got the bulk oil in the corner with the dump tank there, the waste oil tank, and then 108 inch wide here. Then we go to 96, 144, 144, and then we'll have another 96, 96, and then a 144 to end it off. And that'll get me pretty close to the end of the wall. So it's the next day here. The camera died partway through my time lapse, but I'll show you where I'm at so far. So like before, bulk oil, waste oil, the waste filters go here. An old dishwasher that I converted into a parts washer. All the oil catch pans and stuff here. That's got different kinds of oils in it there. The next shelf up is all oils again, and gas jugs, fuel treatment. Then we go up, we got antifreeze. Then you go up, we got air filters. Then we go to hydraulic oil filters, fuel filters, and then lube filters. Then you go up to the very top and it's all spray or chemical stuff. For here is one of the manifolds for the floor heat. So I just built a threw something together real quick to kind of keep that protected so nothing hits it or anything. Been meaning to do this pretty much since we built the shop. Finally got around to doing it 10 years later. But yeah, and then before I start pulling all this stuff off and putting it on pallets to put up the next pallet racking, I think what I'm going to do is build some more of these. I'm going to build another one to go here, and then one that goes from the floor all the way up. That way, rather than taking a bunch of this stuff and putting it on pallets, moving it out, and then not having anywhere to put it right away, I can just take and stack it up, and then we can. Alright, so we got the whole paint can corner all finished up. So when I was cleaning the shelf off, I realized we had 3 gallons of white paint. Had I known that, I would have painted all this before putting the shelves on there. But I guess I'll have to do this another time. Alright, so we finally got all the pallet racking up. Still got to put the wire rack on the end 2 down there. Yeah, I'm gonna call it a night. Alright, so I got my nifty little A-frame on casters built. I just used some casters we had laying around. Gonna pick up 4 more of them, so it's got 8 total on it. It's just 2,000 pound capacity racks. A lot better than just having everything scattered on the floor or on that sketchy homemade rack that I had made out of some random stuff we had laying around. So we're just about down to pretty much just got some trash to take out. Alright, we got the sleds all loaded up out of the shop finally. Hopefully the trailer doesn't have to get used to move anybody again. Alright guys, so finally finished up cleaning the shop. Got the workbenches all cleaned up, finished up. So I was missing these 3 pieces of shelving here. So I ended up ordering another pack, put them there, and then those come in 4s. So the one leftover one I actually put on the rack over there, so it holds all the funnels and stuff above the bulk or the waste oil catch. Yeah, that's this. And then I moved the press. I used to sit in this area over here so you could slide it out and stuff, but set it here, put all this random stuff that we use for pressing out, doing different things in the bottom, or tray down here. The theory of having it on the end of the workbench here is that, assuming we keep the workbench clean, we can come and just set the drive shaft on here, and you can press out the ball joints nice and easy without having to mess around with trying to hold it up or setting up a sawhorse or something to hold it. So that should be nice. And over here, I moved all the welding stuff. So the welders used to sit there, which worked great when we only had the 2 miller ones. But now I've got my Eastwood TIG welder that I bought recently. So it just kind of ended up crowded in over here, and it just was a terrible setup to that way anyways. So we got it all lined up here, fits pretty nice. And the plan here is to build a wall along where this blue line is. We'll just have a 2x4 wall faced with plywood on the outside, and then a little loft area that should come up. If we do it, I want the floor to be just below where the blue air line is here, so we don't have to mess with changing any of that stuff. And then the air compressor will sit on top of that, and that should keep all of that stuff protected from grinding and everything. And speaking of grinding, probably gonna switch the tables and the welders and all that stuff, flip-flop them, so that when you have a workpiece on the table, if you're working on it, grinding, plasma cutting, torching, whatever, it's a little bit farther away from anything that will be in the work bay here with the hoist. So like I said, air compressor would go up top, and then that's on wheels, so I would probably just slide in behind the wall, keep it nice and tucked away. Probably have some stuff mounted on the inside of the wall for hanging air hoses, and a couple shelves for like the bead blaster there, and then we got a remote air tank there for filling tires. We go on a shelf in there. Then over here, so previous videos you'd been able to see that I had my toolbox like right here. So it ended up being kind of tight over here. There's some stuff on the back side of it, so the transmission jack, the parts washer, that was it, sitting right there, was on the back side of that, and it was just kind of a nightmare. And yeah, I ended up real tight. Everything always ended up just full of crap wedged in between there. I still need to go through all this storage area here. There's lots of stuff that can go or be reorganized into something better and put on the pallet racking. The toolbox ended up moved over here. There really isn't a good spot in this setup for the tool cart and road box, but that's always moved to wherever I'm working on anything anyways, so that's not a big deal. Then we come over here, we got all the sandblasting stuff tucked away under there. The big sandblaster is over at my uncle's right now, so that's not in here, but that gets tucked under there too. Some wiring supplies, and then this is all woodworking stuff here. This was like this before, it's just gotten shoved over a little bit so we could have room for the toolbox there. And then added the shelves on here. And this is all parts for the 67 project over here, mostly. Some of it's for other stuff. And then these boxes are all full of the used parts that I've taken off from the 67 and the Duramax, as well as other project parts are up top. Stack of radiators from various things. 6.5 parts from the 92 6.5. Probably have a video on that eventually too, putting a new engine in there. Then you come over here. I just got, right now, all I've done is stacked up all the sheets of MDF and plywood on this table. Not 100% sure where I'm putting that yet. Might just end up putting it behind the chop saw here. But I want to put wheels on this so you can roll this out really easy too, like the table saw. Figured out a way to mount these on the side of it so you can just roll it out. But right now, it's next to an outlet, so you can grab some wood here, cut down what you need real quick and go about your business without having to actually pull it out. And then for bigger projects, you could just pull it out into the middle, like I would plan on doing with the table saw. Yeah, then we got the 68 there. Pickup box is still full of stuff. That's all parts that came off of the 68 and new parts. mostly engine parts because I've been building the 383 for that. Then we got Dad's Firebird here that also needs a ton of work. Thought this looked pretty decent when we bought it, or when he bought it, but found out that there's lots of Bondo in this thing. So, needs more than we anticipated. That'll get worked on eventually. Then we got the old McCormick here that needs some new tires, but this thing actually does still work. It's just a oily mess. It's a really good mower, actually. Yeah, then we also got this rack that I built. It's just two racks that I bought off of Amazon, modified into make one instead of being two separate ones. Hope so that it would be able to hold a heavier load. Then we got the engines over here. Got the big Iveco over there that I still gotta pull that out one of these days and do some work on that too. Make sure that it's still good to go if we ever need it. And then 6.5 that I was talking about earlier. And then just full of crap everywhere. The 383, some other air compressors. This is all parts. So we got truck parts on this shelf here. This is electrical stuff in empty boxes. That's specialty tools down there that are just really heavy and did not want to lift up onto a shelf. Tractor parts. Yeah, fun stuff. Yeah, then basically went over all this already. Moved the turning lathe over here, finished up that paint can storage. So my initial plan with this was to actually screw everything in, but they kept cracking everything, even with it pre-drilled, so just set them on top of it. It's good enough. Doesn't look the greatest, but whatever. Then all this stuff in the bay here is stuff that needs to go. We got cores that need to be brought back to a parts store. That seed I don't think is any good anymore, and then a lot of it's just trash. The last thing that I did was reorganize the whole cleaning area. So before I just had a little shelf and everything was packed onto this cart and it was never organized. It was always a disaster. So now got this other shelf here, got everything organized up onto there into different categories like interior, wax, polishes, glass, everything else. It's all organized now. So you just grab what you need, put it on the cart and go do what you're gonna do. And the pressure washer, obviously. Then we have the pile of trash that needs to get taken out. Alright guys, so thanks for watching. I know this is kind of a boring video and most of you probably want to see progress on the 67, which luckily now that everything's cleaned out, I got room to work on the 67 while also having tractors and stuff in here. Stuck around this long, please like and subscribe so you can check out what the channel's all about. The 67, or the LB67 as I like to call it. LB7 powered C10. We got the tower of turbos that are taking off some equipment. But the top one is off of an LB7, off of my LB7 before I rolled it. And believe it or not, that turbo has 7,000 miles on it. Fucking mint, right?